very good morning to you. You are watching Newsline this morning with me, Chathuranga, Hapuarahchchi. Now, yesterday was a day of mourning for our country. A veteran filmmaker, Sri Lanka Abhimanya Dr. Lester James Peris passed away and his final rites were carried out yesterday. While it was a day of mourning for Sri Lanka, at the end of the final rites, at the end of the funeral ceremony, we heard another story that was, to be honest, very shameful. I have here with me Mr. Chrishmal, Warnasuriya, lawyer and the national convener of the Reshuffle movement. We are going to talk about that movement in a while as well, but a story that has come to the newspapers, a global movie icon, and on the day of the funeral, one of the awards that he received in the year 1965, a very valuable award that was placed near the mortal remains of late Dr. Lester James Peris, goes missing. As a country, where are we heading?
Good morning, Chathuranga. Thank you for you and your station for inviting us once again to your program. And may I say that whilst we wish your colleague Faraz all the best, you're doing a yeoman service and ably representing him. I watched you and congratulations to you. Chathuranga, it's actually, when I heard this, until you showed it to me on the paper, I actually don't feel like saying good morning. Because is it a good morning to our country? I mean, if this is the shameful level to which we can fall, what do we say as a nation? Any other man also it should not be condoled, but here is a man who has given 99 years of his life, if not the most part of it, to the upliftment of the local cinema, and he is considered one of the legends of our time. And you go to his funeral and you lift the Ranamayura award that this man has won. I mean, this runs my mind back to when, I don't know, probably you were not born. We were young students during the 83 hartals that happened and the aftermath of it, and the consistent bombings with which we grew up in Chathuranga. There was an old train bombing in Dehiwala, and the papers had a headline of a man running away with a blown off arm. An arm of a fellow Sri Lankan had been blown off in the bomb, and he was running away with that part of the arm. You know why? Because there was a watch on that arm. I mean, this reminds me of the cannibalistic attitude of our country, and sometimes it's, I don't know, some of us who have that passion that we are sons of this soil and we born in this country and we love this country so much, it makes you embarrassing to be called a fellow citizen with these rogues, and I don't mince my words, rogues, absolute utter rogues that live in this country. And that is that very mentality that have filtered down, we can talk about it later, a pyramid downwards and made us who we are. I mean, I don't know where to blame, I really don't know where to look, Chathuranga. Perhaps it's a 30-year-old war where we have just lost all values that we had, because we've seen people being blasted off in numbers 30, 40, 50. Yeah. And with that life, the value we give to life and our values, I don't know what it is, but we are certainly, unless the people wake up and do something to revert our process, please don't expect any politician to do anything, because this sort of thing is going to repeat. And they might even come for our funerals. Perhaps one day they'll steal away the body also, for some body part, if this is the way we behave.
Mr. Warnasuriya, moving away from one shameful incident that happened in the country to another, if I may put it that way. The most number of cabinet reshuffles that happened in a tenure of one government, I think this is this year, the government that came after the year 2015. Now we saw another cabinet reshuffle yesterday, and hours later we also saw a press release being sent to say, no, this is what has actually happened, and these deputy ministers have these subjects and the others have these subjects. So there was reshuffle, then amendment to the reshuffle as well. So I know you are not very keen on talking about this particular topic, but I have to ask you, scientific approach to the cabinet reshuffle, did it work, will it work, and what is your opinion?
Yeah, as you correctly said, you have to ask Chathuranga, and it is my prerogative whether to reply or not.
Sure.
And as I keep on insisting, I don't want to waste your valuable time, certainly my valuable time, and the airtime of this country that belongs to the people of this republic. Although your station puts up the infrastructure, airwaves belong to the people. Of talking about politics of this country presently, Chathuranga, whether it's a cabinet, reshuffle or whatever, because I think it's a waste of time. As far as we as people also, including media stations, go running behind these 225 people and think that all your country's problems are going to be solved by them, whether in a cabinet, in a reshuffle or jumping from side to side, then you are on your way to disaster. If that's what you want to do, there is nothing I can do about it. Then you can follow who you have made superstars, who are actually your servants. You have made them superstars. They jump from one side to another and they reshuffle themselves in a pack of cards for their own benefit, not for the people's benefit. And if you want to waste your time talking about it, you can. But I certainly don't. So I'd rather not discuss cabinet reshuffle. Very quick answer to your question. I don't think there is anything scientific at all. I think if at all there's any science to it, the only science is looking after their own well-being and power struggles between the parties and how do they survive the next 1.5 years. And I'm asking you, the people, to take a decision as to whether you want to condole such nonsense and think all your problems are going to be solved by these 225 people.
Ms. Warnasuriya, now with the two topics that we just discussed, one is the Ranamaira Award going missing and the other one is the cabinet reshuffle. Two things that happened in the country yesterday and the day before. We also have to realize the importance of civil society in our country, because if things go along this route, if the cabinet, as you say, will not work, and if the rupee is also having a problem these days, with everything that is happening in the country, someone needs to be there. You have now come forward with the Reshuffle movement. I want to ask you, before we continue along with this interview, I want to ask you, what is the Reshuffle movement and how are things different from what you have been doing thus far?
Yeah, thank you, Chathuranga. Yeah, Hapuarahchchi was once again a result of this frustration that you and I now discuss. But I don't think Hapuarahchchi alone can do this. There have to be several such movements formed. People need to realize that we are a republic. You see, the concept of public trust, Chathuranga, if I may take a few minutes of your time and explain this. The concept of public trust, that all office is held in trust for us, the people, is nothing new to Sri Lanka. If you look at our old kings, there is a lovely judgment in the Bulankulama case. Bulankulama was the industrial minister, where a judge quotes that old saying of King Parakram Bahu, saying, "Let not one drop of water go to the seas without benefiting man." And then there is also a quotation in a similar set of judgments of the great saying of Mihindu Thero to King Tissa, saying when you are trying to shoot that deer, and then the great king, the birds and the beasts and the forest don't belong to you, they belong to our people, and they are only a guardian. This concept of guardian, therefore the people are the absolute sovereign holders of this country. Now we have, over the effluxion of time, sometimes I am sorry to say, I blame most of our media also for this, because we have afforded some unbenign stardom to these fellows who are actually supposed to be our servants. Because we run behind cameras, and whether they fall, they jump, they hit each other, slap each other, or pull each other by the ear, shout filth at each other, is given attention, and therefore they also have started thinking that they are cricket stars or superstars or movie stars. And therefore the people have now started watching them, the stars, to say, okay, the stars are now going to solve our problems. Nothing is going to solve your problems. These stars are certainly not going to solve your problems, because the people of the republic must make a republic. I keep on saying the people of a republic can't give a vote once in 5 or 6 years and expect the country to be made by sitting down, watching the news in the night and thinking someone else is going to fight your battles for you. No, you have to work on it. You have to build like this civil movements. In your villages, launch village movements that are about the development of your country. Then if you are in the industry, we have to form industrial movements. Corporate sector. If you are in the financial sector, form financial, and try and raise a voice as to the problems that you see. So Reshuffle is a group of individuals and associations. We have associations also have joined us. You can look us up on Facebook or www.Hapuarahchchi.com. www.Hapuarahchchi.com. You can even join us and join the dialogue. We have given a forum for similar-minded individuals, particularly if you are frustrated as a Sri Lankan that nothing is happening, to come on board and see whether we can tackle. Now, I don't know whether you laugh at me. We have actually followed a scientific model of dividing areas of governance. Now, for example, one of our subcommittee chairman on last night on another channel, here, Nalin, He is the chairman of our governance, public sector reform and natural resources subcommittee. Then we have similarly a health, mental and physical development subcommittee, mental and physical both. We have another subcommittee headed by a doctor, that's health. We have another subcommittee headed by a non-educationist, which is education and citizen empowerment. How do you empower the citizen? So like this, we have identified, we are not a very resourceful organization, we have just started, but someone must do something, as you say. So we are trying to grapple with the problems of the country and try to give an alternate, a policy-based approach, because our institutions have suffered, Chathuranga, over these last years. Our institutions have fallen. Institutions have been overtaken by individuals. Now we are looking at individuals. This star or that star to solve our problem, but not the institution. But if you strengthen the institution, if you strengthen the infrastructure of the institution and the values that it is based on, then whoever person that comes there, the system will go. That's why we want to go, Chathuranga.
Mr. Warnasuriya, congratulations to you and the work that you do, but I want to focus the attention on this angle as well. Let's say this particular civil movement that we talk about, where does it end? Who takes the final decision? Now, yes, you're a civil society movement, you'll go ahead, but at the end someone needs to make a decision, and doesn't that authority be with the politicians, the public representative?
No, that's you see, the authority lies on the Sri Lankan citizen. I said, back to public trust. We give our public trust by a vote, whether it's a judicial institution, the judicial arm, Article 4C of the Constitution, judiciary, or legislative arm to make laws for us, Parliament, Article 4B of the Constitution, or the executive to a president, Article 4A, 4B of the Constitution, 4A, 4B, 4C. These powers are in Article 3 of the Constitution. The sovereignty of the people. It's our sovereign power that we give in public trust. For example, I'll tell you this, I quoted this on stage before, that Sinhala thing that we hear on the radio every morning on Independence Day, a set of lovely girls from school stand in front of the president and sing, Deva Vasatu Kalena. What does that mean? This concept of public trust is nothing new to us. Deva Vasatu Kalena, let the gods give us timely rain, right? Sassa Sampati Hetuka. So that when the timely rains come, the people may be happy, right? Picho about the low culture. What is Peter? So that the people may be happy. So let the gods give us timely rain, so that our crops may be bountiful, and that the people may be happy. How? Raja Bhavatu Dhammiko. So for all this to happen, the state must be governed by the ruler, by discipline, and according to Dhamma. Dhamma meaning a set of preset rules that which you must govern a country with. Now this is, that's why it is nothing. So the people must now realize, like you say, civil society organizations can bring the people's attention to it, right? Now after that, obviously the people need to make a decision. Our intention is so that the people make a decided decision, a calculated decision, a knowledgeable decision, so that we tell the people, you don't need to cast your vote upon the colors green, blue or yellow because your grandfather belonged to that party. You don't need to go behind and cast your vote because some such and such person, TV star or superstar or movie star or cricket star. But you need to look at policy. How, will this person, whether it's in executive office, will this person be suitable to represent your executive power? If it's in the parliament, is this person capable of going? I am laughing because my mind comes to this Singaporean cabinet that we recently saw, and the Canadian cabinet, where it's a professional in that area who has been vested with the devolved power of organizing policy. And so you need to decide whether these people are capable of handling your power. Now to do that, civil society movements like ours act in other countries as pressure groups. They are pressure groups that highlight the needs of the country, and then the people make an informed choice. It's an informed choice that the person makes, and that's our motivation.
Mr. Warnasuriya, going forward, I want to ask you, now there are, even though you don't want to talk about politicians, I'm still going to continue to ask you this question. There are people in parliament, though we tell that all of them are rogues,
I'm not saying all of them are rogues,
but that is the common perception among the general public. But there are people in parliament who are actually capable of doing something.
But the voice is stifled. No?
But why?
Because they are a minority. You see, one of the intentions of our Hapuarahchchi movement is also at a future stage to see whether these good people that you talk of in parliament who are already in political office, who can actually do something, will also join civilians like us and try to change the direction of this country. And we are inviting and by already, I don't want to mention names, some of the so-called known names in the present executive cabinet system and the parliament, they have discussed things with us. The party leaders have called me and asked me, well, obviously there's a political interest in this, Chathuranga.
Yeah.
Politicians will want political attention so that they will be garnered to a next election.
Sure.
So if we also, see, as civilians, show them we are not interested in your super luxury vehicles or your foreign tamashas or how you travel on business class, but what is it that you will give the country, not just bland promises that come in a manifesto, but something constructive that you will now engage with us. Then if those politicians are shown that it's only if you work with us that we will support you next time, then they will of course work with you. So like you say, the good people there, because there are a few and they are suppressed by the majority of hooligans there, who only like to shout and waste our money, those people can't do anything. So they are also invited by civil society to come and work with us and try to make the country a better place.
Great. Now, Mr. Warnasuriya, the other side of the question. Now, let's say someone looks at your organization, this particular organization that we're talking about. I'm not going to mention any names, but there are people who are in parliament. We saw a person of that nature coming before the media and speaking yesterday. We can't figure out whether he's actually acting or whether he's actually telling the truth. Then there was this incident where this particular politician accused the judiciary as well of not functioning properly, and there was this, before going to the person, my question is totally different. When you speak about all of these institutions, the first thing the people get into their minds is, yes, the civil society is there to do this particular task when it comes to politics, do this particular task when it comes to being a pressure group for the government. But the institution that you represent, people are now pointing the finger
Judicial arm of government.
The judicial arm of the government. Yeah. So how does that work? What is your view on it?
Yeah, I understand the question that you are raising, Chathuranga, and I won't be reluctant to mention the names because the media reports of two individuals who and on the Facebook I also saw an advertisement that Mr. Kurituakku, a learned friend at the bar, and also one Miss Fernando, who I've never personally met, are having some open forum to discuss what they allege as breaches or what they allege as complaints against the judiciary. Now, you see, the way the bar handles this, Chathuranga, this is my complaint about this present movement. The Bar Council, which I also represent, the Bar Council is the governing body of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka. We have almost 20,000 members now. And the Bar Council has unanimously resolved that our president is not going to go and get into chats with anyone.
The president of the Bar Association.
The president of the Bar Association. Our president means not the country of the Bar Association. Because we have, as lawyers, we must know how the system works. No? You don't, number one, by washing our dirty linen in any public, if you are not doing any benefit, or if upon a scale, if the damage you are doing is more than the benefit, then you as a rational lawyer who's bound by a code of ethics must think, am I doing the right thing? Already we are facing a problem where people don't want to go to court. Already we are facing a problem of loss delays. Already we are facing a problem of excessive fees being charged by law. Now in such a system, if you go and bring the system down again, the institution in the people's eye, the people are going to hesitate in going to court. What are they going to do? They are going to look at alternate mechanism, paying the local thugs some money to break someone's arm. Is that where you want to go? Now, that is why our system says, if there is a complaint, the bar allows the system, that the Supreme Court allows the system for a complaint to be made. A complaint can be lodged, then an inquiry is held, and then you look into the matter. But I do not know whether there are, because people are alleging that there are personal political interests by going public like this and trying to attract the people. By getting the gallery involved, whether you are going to attract some personal interest for your own merit. Because I think one of the gentlemen has declared that he wants to be president in 2020. So in a presidential campaign, particularly when you declare that, people might wonder whether this is part of the campaign. Yeah. You follow? Whether there is a personal interest in this. Now, therefore, we as lawyers, we believe that first the complaint must be made either to the bar, or one can petition the Chief Justice directly, then the Judicial Service Commission can launch an inquiry. The bar will hold an inquiry. We will find out whether the facts are correct, particularly their allegation about some magistrate being drunk or something. Now, these are things that ought to have been brought to the bar first before going public. What is the public going to do? What is the public going to, can the public hold an inquiry? And then if you have tried that and failed, then certainly go public. And then, oh yeah, I went to the bar didn't do anything, they also hid this under the carpet. Now that's a valid complaint. But without doing it, going public and asking people to come for an open forum where you give a speech and something and bring the institution down, I don't personally agree with it. I have no offense with them personally, but I don't personally agree with it as a lawyer. There is a much more responsible way that we ought to have done this.
Politicians pointing the finger at the judiciary. Is it fair? Are they doing the right thing?
If it's, remember that we are in a system of checks and balances. Politicians can point the finger at the judiciary. There is a system to do it. In the well of parliament, in the houses of parliament, they can bring a valid complaint and they have all the right to discuss that. And if there is any move by them, if it's a higher judiciary, if there is valid complaint, they can launch a process of impeachment and they can go through that. And
that's happened in our country before.
So it's happened in our country. But there is a system that one institution checks the other.
Yeah.
So when I say politicians, I don't mean this some gambatta who has some personal grievance with the magistrate because he has not given one of his jokers bail. Because he has gone and assaulted someone. I don't mean personal complaints of that nature. But if you have a valid complaint against a member of the judiciary or indeed even lawyers, there have been complaints against lawyers that I have defended, where clients have complained of breach of ethics and confidentiality, things like that. By all means, we are an institution. Judicial arm of government is also bound to be checked by you, the people, because we exercise your power on public trust. Please check us, complain against us, and we will face the inquiry.
The point you bring forward about the dirty linen being washed in public is similar to a point that is raised by all UNPs when it comes to the party restructuring. They say, no, what's the point of talking about this in public? But I'm going to ask you that question as well. A democratic party that has been in the country for, I think, from 1946 or 1947 up to date, in a situation like this, what is happening to the United National Party? Do you think it's fair for the UN peers to do this to themselves, or do you see another way to it?
Yeah, I personally have no interest in the United National Party, or any party for that matter. So
I know.
Subject to my earlier qualification, I don't give two hoots about any of the parties because I don't believe in them. But if the UN peers are seriously interested, not just UN peers, Chathuranga, all parties must have intra-party democracy within the party. You see, you must allow, say, for someone like, say, anyone, say a member in your station who is a member of the UNP, who wants to contest an election next time, for him to, if there is another one trying to be pushed by a senior man's son or son-in-law or daughter or daughter-in-law, he has to be able to say, no, in the party, let's take a vote. I will show who I am. Let that member's son or daughter show who they are, and let the party members take a vote and say who's the better man for it. Now that intra-party democracy happens in other democracies. That's why those parties are strong, that's why the system is strong. Here, it's only those that curry favor with the party leader that gets into some position. And that is not healthy for a democracy of a country. You know why? Because look at, I mean, if I'm asking you to look at, say, cross-section of the parliamentarians, they're either someone's son, or daughter, or son-in-law, or nephew. Have you lost your feudalistic attitude yet? Although we claim that we have got our independence in 1948, are we still in the master-servant mentality? But I don't think feudalism has left us.
True.
That old landowner's son, baby mahatya api wada karamu. And I mean, if that's what we, particularly those of us who are in the urban areas, must educate those that we come across in the villages or in the outskirts, saying, look, feudalism is gone. We don't necessarily need to elect that old politician's son, daughter or son-in-law or someone who cleaned his car for him to office. You can find a better representative for yourself. And we must get into our heads that these are our public representatives. They are our servants. We pay them a salary. For goodness sake, we feed them. We pay the petrol also for their wife to go shopping. And if we are doing all of that, they are our servants. So we need to forget that we are forgetting that we are the masters, they are the servants have become the masters.
The other way around of that question is also a problem. Now, we say that, they are servants and things like that. And we also say that feudalism has to go away and the people in the, but though our literacy rate is high in our country, very high level, our knowledge about things are very low. Isn't that so? The democratical system that has been placed on us, does it really work?
A favorite quote stated by many of our politicians are, we are a 100% literate nation. Almost 100% literacy. සාක්ෂරතාවය 100% ළඟයි. But the fact that you can there is that song no මල පොතේ අකුරු බෑකීමින් හැ ඉංග්‍රීසි පත්‍රයක් උඩිනම් පල්ලහැටි he is reading a race paper. The fact that you can read ABC and put a comma or full stop does not mean that you are intelligent. I'm sorry to say, we have to question ourselves, are we an educated nation? We may be able to read ABC, but are we an educated nation? And if we are not, where are we, what are we doing about it? And that's the very reason why Chathuranga, our Ratasuraikumu, we have a special committee for education and citizen empowerment.
Mr. Warnasuriya, since we are coming to the final few minutes of the show, we started off with a sad story about the Ranamaira award going away. Then we spoke about the cabinet reshuffle and how you didn't want to talk about it much, but how things have unfolded. We then spoke about the judiciary.
I can talk the law of it very quickly. I can say that the cabinet reshuffle, this cabinet, in my opinion, is unlawful because the constitution doesn't allow part of a party to form a national government. The constitution is very clear after became the 19th amendment. Do I have time to quickly say?
Yes, you do.
The 19th amendment, we limited the ministers to 30. You can't go beyond 30. The only occasion on which you can go beyond 30 is when you form a national government. In my interpretation of the constitution, this is not a national government because it's not the party that garnered the highest number of votes together with another party. This is not another party. It's only part or a few members. Where 16 more have left. Only a few members who have gone into that. That's not a national government in terms of the constitution. Someone should challenge this.
My final question to you for the day. 20th constitutional amendment. There is talk of it. There are people trying to actually move forward with it. As a country, as a political system, how does this affect us? Very quickly. How does this affect us?
No, the abolition of the executive presidency is a popular political slogan for every election, and that can be used to garner people's support. So you must realize whether that's what you want. First, number one, even if so, what is the alternative? Because if the alternative is to pick up a politician, a president from the parliament that you have already elected and sent, that's part of a legislative power, then you're concentrating power. Because legislature you have elected separately and given to a parliament. Executive power we elect separately and give to a president. If you are now trying to abolish that and try to bring some system where someone who can garner by some hoodwinking and changing heads some majority in parliament to become president, then you are concentrating power on two institutions into one. And now first year political science that we learn is where these three organs of government are separated, it's good for democracy. Judiciary, legislative, executive. But when one or more of these things are concentrated, you're creating a dictator. So the people must realize, without looking at the alternative, we can't comment on it. See what the alternate is. And if the alternate, like I said, is to pick president from the parliament that you already elected and sent, then you're going to create a dictator.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warnasuriya, for joining us this morning. It's always interesting to talk to you. Early in the morning, we are going to have Mr. Warnasuriya in a short while on our sister FM channels as well. So have a listen to that as well if you can. Once again, I will join you tomorrow as well with an interesting guest. Thank you very much for watching Newsline.
Thank you, Chathuranga.